How would you respond to Shaylin? Asking
Messed around for a while until my early teens until I figured it out, but therapy would have made it a heck of a lot quicker, I'm sure. Yeah.
you to stop jerking off to porn in any fantasy that doesn't center around her.
I mean, it's good to not be totally online, cause
I have tried with Shaylin, and yeah, I can fantasize about whatever I want. I've tried with Shaylin and with other partners to share porn and get them to share porn. And I have. We've sent each other porn that we like. But sometimes, well, also, I don't look at porn, like porn. I don't look at images where someone has been paid to be naked or sexual in them. I haven't. It's been almost 2 years. But I look at erotic image, like drawings and stuff,
but that is more or less porn, no?
and or like if
I
there's
mean, it's
pictures
drawn stuff.
where it's like not
Is he okay? He's just admitting that he like probably goons to like lolly hentai, right? Like,
like a professional, like candid, whatever. People just taking pictures of, like, if somebody just takes pictures of themselves naked and posts on the internet, like it's fair game. But I don't look at porn. Yeah, Instagram. But even on Instagram, once it feels too monetized, then I think I can't. I won't. Or if they have an OnlyFans, I'll like research any person that whose pictures I'm gonna jack off to. I have to research if it leads
what?
to a
Why?
pipeline of porn. It's still I won't.
What?
I won't do it.
Huh?
Okay, so anyway, if Shaylin was like said what you said, so like if I'm looking at every specific image or
Bro, what do you mean you have to do research? Why? Is it just like for your conscience or what? Because I'm telling you, God will not save you just because you did research. Okay?
thought, sometimes I do think, what if would Shaylin approve or would she accept this? And um, no, she wouldn't. I, I like we could have a conversation. Like she could accept it. I do feel fairly accepted by Shaylin in my sexuality, and I feel like we could have a conversation, but it would have to be a conversation, and there'd be pain and confusion. I think I might be a little more. Um, I I I I. I I think about what Shaylin fantasizes about probably more than she thinks about what I fantasize about. So I don't know. I don't think there's much that
He
would
shouldn't touch
surprise
it?
me.
Sure.
But yeah, like seeing your partner like on a candid camera that you hid in the house, seeing them just look at someone else, being like, oh, just flicking their bean, thinking about someone else's beans. Uh, I I don't think I want to deal with it on on such a regular basis. Like I could deal with it conceptually, but so I think I would say no. You're overstepping. You know, I can fantasize about whatever I want. What's your basis for telling me what to fantasize about? Because my thoughts. This is a problem that I already talk about with Shaylin. Like sometimes if I tell her I'm upset, then she gets really upset or like defensive or something. So I started thinking about how when you get mad at someone else for how they're feeling, that's a physical feeling they have inside their body, and then they tell you about it. I'm angry at you. I feel rage toward you. I feel anxiety about something you did, something you said. This is what feeling, a physical feeling that's inside me, and you're like, how fucking dare you say that to me? You're And so you can get angry back, that's fair, but to frame it as like an affront on you, like how dare I find out what's inside your body? It just seems like so much overreach, like you actively are reaching into someone else's body and trying to control how they feel physically. It's like getting mad at somebody for having a stomach ache. Not getting mad, but like telling them they're not allowed to, or they're not allowed to tell you about it. So I think I'd probably feel pretty violated by the suggestion that I can't have my own private fantasy life. Every single one of my past partners would break down in a catatonic state if I jacked off to random women, girls, to Instagram or social media.
What?
Yeah, Yeah, I wouldn't be in a catatonic state. I would just be, the image of your partner just deeply fantasizing about someone else. I don't know if that's something I want to have in. It's like something I accept. Something that can be. I like hearing about situations that someone fantasizes about, even if the situation doesn't involve me or can't involve me. But hearing about specific people, especially if they're like, oh yeah, there's.
I guess the problem with MrGirl is that he turns like the most normal sex subjects into something that is so inflammatory because he likes getting reactions out of people, and he's like an attention seeker to the point where you could have made a point, but instead everyone is arguing about the point that they think that you are making because you're making an overly inflammatory statement about rape or something. Okay, I think that is the problem with MrGirl. Now, with that being said, okay, obviously he does make a point. Like, obviously, I think that if I had a partner, all right, who I know a partner, okay, but like, eh, obviously I wouldn't want them to tell me like, oh, who it is you're specifically fantasizing about, but like if you just jack off to somebody like very like I don't know, like you just do whatever the fuck you want. Who cares, right? But yeah,
This one Instagram
not
account
complicated.
I always flick my bean to. I gotta rub one out to this
Ew.
person. They posted. Oh,
I think typically people confess out of um they confess out of guilt. I think that's what happens. Okay. I think that when someone says, "Yeah, I actually masturbate to this specific person," they're confessing out of guilt. Okay. And I think that guilt is a destructive emotion that you shouldn't feed into. Okay. So I think that by confessing that you are specifically masturbating to a very specific person, what you're doing is that you're making that guilt stronger because now you feel the obligation to tell your partner every time. And every single time you tell your partner, it's going to hurt them because they don't want to hear about that. They already assume that you're doing that. So there should be no need to tell them about it. Okay. But if you were to masturbate thinking about someone else, keep it to yourself. Okay. Because you probably assume that your partner is doing the same. Okay. I'm just saying. My ex's favorite performer was Johnny Sins. His new boyfriend was bald. When I pointed out to her that she totally sinned me, bro, we totally had a great laugh. We're on good terms. Yeah, sure. Like, it just shouldn't be a big deal. Okay, no, seriously. Like for example, like if you dated a guy who is into like Taylor Swift because Taylor Swift is like hot to like every male fan that she has, right? Then yeah, like fuck. I mean, fuck. Do your thing. Okay, go jack off to Taylor Swift. Fuck. But at the end of the day, you return back to me. Okay, you belong to me. Okay, not to Taylor Swift. Okay, you belong to me. Anyway.
oh, they posted. Ooh, I can't have dinner right now. Let's have dinner in 40 minutes. So I have to fuck myself while I look at someone else. That level of specificity, I don't think I want. It would make me feel too sad and insecure and excluded. Mr.
And
G, the
that's
conversation
fine.
has long moved on at this point, but asking this again, what if Shaylin asked you, why do you need to fantasize about other people? I haven't masturbated since we started dating. I would say you are a codependent ass bitch. And you need to, like, do your own thing. Masturbation is something we can share. You know, we've only masturbated together, seen each other masturbate or whatever, or talked about it, but it's not.
What if Mr. Gross' entire problem is that he can't handle compulsive thoughts, so he has to convince himself he agrees with them? I actually think that's the thing too, okay? Because, at one point or another, all right? Listen, all right? I like talking about this subject because I think it's a really interesting subject to talk about, okay? Um, I like talking about it because even though I think it's controversial, I truly do think some people think this way. And that is that I have talked to multiple people who have admitted that they have found teenage boys hot. Okay. Um, all right, multiple girls who find teenage boys hot, all right, before they find out that this person is actually underage. But I don't think they're pedophiles. I don't think they're predators. Okay. Um, but however, that doesn't mean you should feel the obligation to say, yeah, you know what? I need to say this out loud, and I need to force everybody to agree or disagree with me because that's the only way I can feel better about myself, right? You should be able to not feel guilt, okay? Because of stuff like this. But the problem is that people do feel guilt, and that's where the problem is, right? Um, yeah, the guilt part of it is not good, okay? Whether or not you deserve the guilt, by sharing it out, you are inflicting the consequences of that guilt onto other people, and obviously,
That's like
then it
that's a
becomes kind of weird.
visitation thing, you know. I would say this to any. It's not. This isn't really specific to Shaylin. I would say
I mean, as somebody who has OCD, okay, as somebody who has OCD and obsessive compulsive thoughts, all right, I will say like this is a very specific problem that a lot of people with OCD struggle with. Especially more than others, okay? Like regular people also struggle with like intrusive thoughts that make them feel guilty, right? However, I think that somebody with OCD is frequently tortured by these thoughts to the point where you feel as though you have to get some kind of reassurance from external sources in order to justify having intrusive thoughts is actually okay, right? Um, not acting on intrusive thoughts, but just having intrusive thoughts in general, right? Um, so yeah, I think that's what goes on. Okay, I think that
this
what
to any
happens.
woman who says I haven't masturbated since we started dating. Like, I think masturbation is a pretty important part of your relationship with yourself, and if you become dependent entirely on someone else for sexual gratification, I just have the standard answer to that. My ex hated the concept of me masturbating. I had to get rid of my vibrators to appease him before I realized how fucked up that was and got divorced for that and many other reasons. This reminds me of a piece that I'm kind of working on about men getting replaced. It was kind of inspired by a conversation I had. I think it was Net, where I was like, if you could push a button to make it so women have all the
I like Max, but he truly does have that please check my hard drive look. Dude, I'm not gonna lie. I think that there's nothing special about MrGirl. I truly think so. I truly think that there is nothing special about him, but he is talented at speaking and elaborating and commentary to the point where he is able to trick other people into thinking that he is special or something, right? Well, except for his music. I guess music, right? True. His music is pretty based, okay? But the thing is yeah, he is a talented music artist, I do admit, okay? But the thing is that otherwise, yeah, he is able to turn like really mundane thoughts that anyone can understand into the most inflammatory versions in order to garner reactions from them because he personally enjoys them and it manages to spread his popularity as a content creator, right? Yeah.
food and shelter and healthcare that they need. Would you push it? And he was like, no. They
Although, can we just be honest? Once you've heard one MrGirl song, you've kind of heard them all, right? It's always about rape and pedophilia and Jews. Like what song by MrGirl isn't about rape, pedophilia, and Jewish people? Seriously, genuine question. Okay, every one of the lyrics is the exact same. Please just make a regular song for once. Okay, please pick up a football. All right,
need
like yeah,
us.
fuck. Who
And then
cares?
I was talking to Smith and I was like, I think men are becoming obsolete. I think we might be
Ugh,
useless.
Smith.
Because like all the things that are good about men come with a horrible price. The innovation and the explorer mindset is all. It's also a conqueror mindset. And innovation like it leads to bombs and horrors and mass extinction. Like humanity is a mass extinction event, and it's men. It's like testosterone. And like, oh, men protect me, but they
Okay.
protect you from themselves. And I think vibrators are really emblematic of that. Of like
What?
when you want penetrative sex, it has to be me. And it's just like a very slow, and I think soon it'll be a rapidly increasing march to like, I'm only going to be with you if I like you. I won't need to be with you. And we see sex and relationship rates and birth rates plummeting. And I think this is part of why. Like, we're finding out that if women don't have to be with
Well, birth rates are plummeting because, well, it really depends on which country you're talking about, okay? But it's really not because of this culture shit. So I don't know why he's saying this. Like, yeah, I mean, he'll whatever. But like the reason why they're plummeting is because it's just simply because people find things to do in life outside of sex, okay? Because as we grow as a species, we have invented new ways of obtaining luxury and pleasure outside of sex and outside of all that shit, right? And in addition, with the promotion of contraceptives and shit, obviously you're gonna have like less babies in countries where it's hyper capitalist, like Korea, right? Like obviously, they're way too busy with the grind set, right, to actually foster a family, even though the culture is very much conservative, right? But yeah, and also like there's movements out there in China even where it's like lay down and die, right? Um, yeah, because they feel so isolated and they feel so like, lonely, where they go like, yeah, you know what? Fuck it, we're just gonna lay down and die. Okay. The lay down and die Temping, right?
To you. And vibrators,
What is lay down die? Well, I mean, basically in China, there's this movement called Temping, I think, tapping, something like that. Yeah, where it just means lay down. That's it. That's all the words literally mean. Basically, it's the youth saying, yeah, you know what? I think that as a generation, we're totally fucked. Okay? So it's a philosophy meant to make us live in the moment. And instead, we're just going to focus on um, feeling like living through day by day instead of planning for the future. And instead of focusing on improving my career, instead I'm gonna focus on just playing basketball for the day or something. So that is basically what temping is. Temping doesn't mean just shut in and stay in at home. From what I see from people who are interviewed, temping just means like, yeah, I'm just gonna live day by day, and I still hang out with friends, I still socialize, but at the same time, I'm no longer going to be aiming for societal goals that society wants for me. That's basically what temping means. Yeah, which is very emblematic of what Chinese parents want of their children, which is like a house, not a house, but like an apartment, I don't know, a flat, a place to live at, and a family, children, right? So people who are completely overwhelmed by, parental and societal expectations are probably going to be, subservient to temping. Um, However, obviously you have then older people who have lived through hard times as well in the past, because they've been through like China in tumultuous times, saying, yeah, this isn't good, because you have a bunch of youngsters who are the future of our country, who are essentially like advocating for doing jack shit, right? And even Xi Jinping, the Chinese government, have acknowledged this issue, saying that, oh, the youth are the future and we need to figure out some way to get them moving again. But then at the same time, every single facet of Chinese society is literally geared towards making people temping. So it's like fuck. Like, what are you supposed to do at that point, right? Like, fuck. I mean, it's not the biggest issue, for the record. It's just not. It's not big enough of an issue to actually warrant worrying, but it is a growing issue, that's for sure. Yeah.
are again a perfect example of one reason women don't have to be with men. And so, yeah, if you're counting on fear and desperation to hold your relationship together, I think that's when you start to feel really threatened by something like a vibrator. What I mean by
Isn't that
codependence
MrGirl?
is
Whatever, man.
some arbitrary threshold where you think that processing your feelings.
Looking like a snack sauce. To be fair, okay, I'm very sweaty right now, okay? So my hair is a fucking mess, okay? My clothing is a fucking mess, okay? So don't you dare fucking glaze me, alright? I'm a fucking mess right now, okay? Fuck.
Including
Yeah.
sexual arousal or horniness, needs to involve a specific other person or other people in general. So I mean it as a relative term to like
Take the
to
compliment.
compared
No!
to a woman who just masturbates when she's horny, and instead of a woman who like proudly is saying, I have not masturbated since I met my boyfriend, because now he
So it's
is like
yeah.
he's like part of your body.
Okay, I will say, okay, I mean, like, that's not the, like, the most absurd MrGirl segment, to be fair, although he says absurd things, right? Um, I think, dude, honestly, you might be surprised, but my former roommate says he masturbates only, like, once a month. And he's like a guy, okay? A really skinny guy. Um, and he says he masturbates once a month, and he's a soft boy, and women are just really, really into him. Okay, like fuck, this guy is literally a chick magnet. Um, but yeah, maybe it's because once a month is crazy. It is crazy, but maybe he is genuinely just fueled by his current girlfriend having sex and only that. Yeah. Did he have a GF? He has had GFs before. But yeah, prostate cancer avoided. Yeah. No, no, he has sex, but like he only feels the emotional need to have sex, not like oh I'm horny, I want to have sex, right? But yeah. Once a month is not, no, that is crazy, okay? I want to be very clear. That is crazy, but it's just that he's not yeah, I mean, fuck. And he's young, okay? So it's like that's not really that expected, I guess, but like fuck. I mean, once a month is kind of crazy, okay? Gonna be honest. But that's just me, okay? I promise. Once a month is crazy. Oh no, 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 before he had a GF, okay? But like when he's on his own or he's away or something, that is it's just once a month. That's what he admits to me. He's one of these demisexuals. Yeah, I think you would say that he is a demisexual, okay? Like if we skip all the gay like newspeak, like the progressive newspeak terms, yeah, like if we were to use that, yeah, I will say he's classified as a demisexual, yeah. Somebody who is very much um he has to be romantically attracted to someone to find them attractive or something, that kind of stuff. Because otherwise, he's not very horny. Okay, like he really isn't. Fuck. The majority of humans have a low sex drive. No, I really don't think that's the case. Actually, um, can you just imagine if that actually was the case? Fuck me. I mean, what does he view as being romantic? Oh, dude, just cute couple shit, right? Like just like hanging out, having a date, right? Like the regular normie couple shit, like nothing special. Okay, what the fuck I gotta add on stream? Yeah, you have to pay for my bills because you only gave me 50 cents. What the fuck, dude? That's fucked up. No. I can only like fantasize about a type of woman, not really specific one, weirdly enough. Sure, closeness and that too. Not everyone is the same, okay? Not everyone is the same. Um, hold on.